Okay. And we'll pick up from there. But I'm going to stop between your interlude and the main session. I'll stop for a few minutes and just do a Q&A session to kind of clear it up, because we've had a bit of a break and a lot's happened, and there's multiple different locations, and some people, particularly Tet, know about some other stuff that hasn't really happened in the game, so they think there's a fair amount of confusion. Allow people to just ask questions and we'll sort it out before we do the main session. Okay, Tet, you've kindly offered to record. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm recording.
Okay, great. So I'll just count down and then I'll go. 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone and welcome back to Blades and Blasters. Tonight we're back with another game of Dragonlance and Knight's Frontier. We're up to session 10, and this is a little interlude before the main session. Darius, played by Bo, hasn't been in the last couple of sessions, and we're just going to have a quick interlude about what's been happening with him so we can kind of catch up. So I'm going to go straight into that. Right. Okay. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Sure can.
Okay. And hopefully you can hear some music as well. Okay.
Sure can.
Good. Okay. Several of the Solamnic auxiliaries have been sent north to scout and potentially capture an old stone tower, all that remains of a Solamnic castle built and then destroyed some 200 years ago. With their departure, the Solamnic outpost of Norhold seems a little quieter. As the pale light of the next dawn brightens to full morning, Darius, the half-elf rogue, emerges from his room at the White Hart Inn and enters the common room. The innkeeper, Jeffrey Maroth, is hard at work cleaning the bar's countertop and cooking eggs and bacon. But the common room has another occupant. The bard, Karen Wideranger, is here waiting for breakfast and seems to have her few possessions packed for a journey. Go over to the inn. Okay, so we're going to pick up. It's morning. It's a day since the others left and went north, and you're just coming down for breakfast, and you're seeing Karen there. She's the other bard in town, and she seems to have. She, like you, was brought here as a prisoner, but she's been doing a little work singing at the inn, and she's obviously raised enough to buy a few possessions, but she seems to have them packed for a journey. And I'll let you take it away.
Darius, with the clip-clop of his boots, comes down the steps of the inn, looking to the left and right. To the right, he sees one of the locals, all ready with his pipe full and purple smoke floating about his head. And Darius takes a big whiff in. The smell of stale ale and newly packed tobacco. Oh, and coffee. Jeffrum! Coffee, please. Black, as always. And he walks down past Karen and initially kind of gives her a nod and then looks back. Karen, it seems you're packed for a journey. This is quite a perhaps inopportune time with all that's been going on. What seems to be so pressing?
She looks up at you. She seemed to be lost in thought, and she says, "Oh, Darius, how are you doing?"
I'm thirsty for some coffee and a little bit tired. What about you?
Wow. I'm moving on, Darius, she says, and she seems to be looking a little bit over at the area where Jeffrem's got a kind of an oven, and a cooktop, and he's cooking these eggs and bacon in the corner. And she says, "It's time to go. Darius, it's time. Come and sit down. Will you have breakfast with me?
Of course I will. I mean, it might be the last time. I mean, if you were so foolish to venture outside of these walls, what's so pressing that you need to leave?
And she smiles and says, "It's got to the point, Darius, where I'm starting to feel that staying's more risky than going. I'm not sitting around here waiting for more bad stuff to happen."
I'm not going to argue with your judgment. It seems to me that most days when I wake up, the decision is whether to leave my head back on the pillow and just sleep the day away, or get up, face rumors of undead wolves at the gates, armies ravaging the countryside, and my friends and family disappearing into the gloom. So I guess either way you decide to go, it's all the same as far as I'm concerned.
And
he says, "Geoffrey,
rugs.
A shot of whiskey in the coffee, please."
And Geoffrey was busy getting the coffee ready. You notice as you came in, he scowled a bit when you mentioned stale ale, but he bustled about getting the coffee, and now he's looking and he says, "That will be extra, Mr. Darius." He says, "But if that's all right."
Of course it's all right. I'll make it up.
And he sort of looks and says, "It's tomorrow you get paid, right?"
Yes, tomorrow, chap.
Ah, right. And he pours, he gets a, he pours a little whiskey into the coffee and kind of swirls it around a little bit, and then brings it over and says, "Will you be having breakfast?" So I've got some eggs and bacon on the go for Karen here.
Yeah, I'll have the same. I'll have what she's having. Although, I wish she wouldn't go.
And she shrugs and smiles. And she says, "Well, there's just too much happening, Darius. There's too much happening." She says, "Look, it's not like..." And then she kind of looks up at Geoffrey, who's kind of stayed there standing at the table looking at her. And she says, And he sort of kind of comes to a little bit and says, "Oh, sorry," and goes back and bustles around, carrying on with the cooking. She said, "Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad when Lord Alfred died, but then to find out he was murdered, and then find out there's some cultist here. And then people are saying, Darius, you've been talking to undead wolves. That's pretty weird, right?"
Pretty weird.
It's not A-ish weird, I mean. That man's got a problem. But
I'm not that type of weird, but I mean, I have my lineage, royal elven blood and all.
Yeah, she smiles and says,
I'm just saying, Karen, the Fae, the undead, it's the living and the dead, it's all the same to me. I see things that simply are not there, but I can also see beauty sometimes where others do not.
She chuckles. She sort of says, "Don't try that." She says, I'm not having anything to do with anyone here since I made the mistake with Aesh. That's not a mistake I'll forget in a hurry." And she kind of shudders.
I don't vouch for Aesh.
And she leans forward and she says, "Something is seriously wrong with that man." She's kind of dropped her voice and kind of leaning in across the table. She goes, "He's not the first man I've been with. I mean, I'm sure he's been around a lot more than I have, but but he's the first I've been with who screams out the name of a dark goddess in a moment of passion. Creepy." And he really screamed it, I tell you.
Darius kind of leans forward, and it's very hard to tell if to Karen if he's interested or just bullshitting her. He says, "Oh, and he screamed it out. Does he screaming as if he's summoning this demon, or he's possessed by it?"
Not a demon, one of the dark goddesses. Ziboim, goddess of the deeps, of the storms. And then, that's when all the lightning happened. Luckily I was away from him before it all happened, but... Ugh! Creepy. She really does shudder. You mark my words, there's something wrong with that man.
No, I dare say, I'll have a word with him. Darius sits back and he pipes, after complaining about somebody else smoking, he packs his own pipe and takes a drag off of it, and he says, "I'll have a word with him at my first earliest opportunity this morning, after my coffee with whiskey, Jeffrum."
And Jeffrum is kind of like, he had it on the, he put it on the table for you, actually.
Oh,
he kind of waves
has
at
a
it.
drink. Maybe let's swallow the water here. Good, Jeffrum, good. But dark goddess, you say? It doesn't seem like the sort that would be into that at all.
Yeah,
I don't think he has a cognitive capacity.
She smiles at that, but she really does look creeped out by the memory, and she goes, well, as soon as he screamed it, there was all this lightning around him, and there's a scar in his chest, and that was glowing. Tell him he's not right. And then it reminded me all of it about... Yeah, it reminded me of it all over again when they brought in your friend Isabeau. And she was wreathed in lightning as well. Do you think he did something to her?
Yes? Only annoy the fuck out of her. No, he's a bard, a fool, a playboy. He is no malignant thing.
She kind of shrugs. She looks skeptical. She says, well, look, I was just telling you what I saw. I'm not going to forget it in a hurry, I tell you.
Nor should you. But again, Karen, I think you should stay. Norhold needs more like you.
I don't know what Norhold needs, but... Is Isabeau all right, by the way? I heard she went off after the others.
I don't know. Answer that.
Yeah, so you do know that she left about... She regained consciousness and left about an hour or two after the others.
Yeah, she's back on her feet. Saw her about an hour ago. She left.
Ah, that's good. I don't think she knows what she's doing with Geraint, though, right? I don't think she realises the way he took her. I think she meant it as a gesture of friendship, but oof. He mistook that, didn't he?
Yeah, you know the way it is, Karen. I mean, signals between men and women, and a man, soldier and officer. It's all too easily mixed up.
Maybe. You think, though, when he's got a choice of two women already, he'd... I don't know. I don't get it either. I don't know what any of them see in him.
Geraint?
Yeah. Her voice does go up like that as well. She says, yeah.
You don't?
She said the... She said, what? You do?
He's the man in charge.
Hey, well, he wasn't at the time it all started, right?
Always going to be clingers on to the man in charge, Karen. Weren't you born? Were you born yesterday? It doesn't matter if it's men or women. They're always going to be clingers on to the people in charge. This is why those like you and myself, we like to stay below the eddies and currents above, and smooth sailing for us, right?
normally is for me, she says. Still. I think they were both into him beforehand. I mean, it's funny though, neither of them's normal. The druid is obviously trying to kill herself. She doesn't like him, and well, that elven woman, oh, she's a piece of work. All eyes down and demure. Masked face, hood up. No, sir, I cannot make eye contact with you. And then, oh, she's giving him glances. She's playing a game, that one, you mark my words.
Who's she talking about?
You can make an intelligence check to see if you can work out who she's talking about. It's only DC 10, because there's not that many people in the outfit.
Int. Here we go.
Okay, yeah,
Nice.
he's talking about a lady. She's talking about a lady called Elisira. You haven't had much contact with her. She is the sister of Solinaran, the Elven Scout. She wears a half face mask all the time, and she goes around with her head down. She doesn't like to talk to people much. She doesn't like to make much eye contact. You hear she does a little bit of sewing. She did a bit of sewing for Aesh, kind of off camera at one point, prepared something for him. But yeah, she's all very kind of demure and not having any contact with anyone. But Karen seems to be indicating that she's been surreptitiously flirting with Geraint, which seems weird.
Seems weird. It seems Karen is upset about that. What's my relationship to Karen? Just remind me. I'm sorry for the listener on the internet.
So Karen was one of the people that was imprisoned with you guys.
Yeah, she came in. It's just like a kind of casual friend, like normal way.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Good. Yeah. And then a few nights ago, she slept with Aesh and then came running out, and was screaming at him that he was a weirdo and a freak and to get away from her. And he came out buck naked and wreathed in lightning.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Karen. So I like Karen after that, because there are a few women that escaped the clutches of Aesh intact, let alone wreathed in lightning. And Karen is my type of gal, so maybe we've had some breakfast together. Me and my coffee. Usually halfway through breakfast, decide to add whiskey to the coffee is what Darius likes to do. That's my preferred MO. So he says to her, so I get it, Karen. How many times have you and I shared breakfast here? Am I right? But listen, these elves, and believe, I know, half one of them, and he kind of pulls back his locks and like pushes forward like a kind of pointy ear. And he says, you're never going to be accepted by them. Just accept that. But accept this. Would you truly trade places with her? Screaming elf trying to get Geraint's attention when I see you before me, Karen, strong, beautiful, independent, ready to strike out on your own. Don't be jealous of that prickly elvish bitch, I think. My bet's on you, babe.
And she does. She almost chokes on the watered down ale she's having with her breakfast. And she's saying, as she kind of coughs, and she says, "There's no stopping you, is there?" She says, "You just never stop trying. I've got to admire your spirit, Darius. But like I said to you the other morning, not after Aesh. I'm not making another mistake here." But she does actually grin. It's not meant to really sting too much. And then as you're talking, the Dragonborn, Artesh, pushes into the room, and he when I say pushes in, he doesn't push past anyone. He pushes the door open, and he looks across at the table, and says, "Darius, might I have a word?" And apologies, Karen, he says. And Karen looks at me. No problem. Just having some breakfast. And Artesh kind of like indicates his head to say, kind of, can we talk outside? And then closes the door as he leaves. What's Darius going to do?
Darius lost audio for
He
his
lost
deep
audio.
in thought.
Yeah. Okay, so while he's sorting that out, I'll say that he follows, and Artesh leads him to the gates of Norhold, where he tells actually, Bo, can you hear? Can you type in the chat if you can hear? See if you can hear. You can at least carry on describing stuff. No, I don't think so. Okay, I think we might have to play one of the scenes differently. There was a bit more I was planning to do here. What we'll just say is that before we kind of end this interlude, Artesh takes Darius up into the little gatehouse here, little wooden gatehouse over the wooden walls, and outside is standing a black-robed wizard, dedicated to the god of dark magic, but a member of an established magical order. So a little tricky to just deny access to. And Artesh turns to Darius and says, "She was asking for you." So, as Bo has lost connection, we will leave it there and play through the rest as part of the main session. Thank you.
Resume.
Okay. So we're now going to go across to the rest of the group, who are about a day north of Norhold at an old tower, which is all that remains of a keep that was once here. Okay. Can everyone see the handout?
Yep.
Cool. In a watchtower just to the south of Nightland's dense, dark forests. As the sun rises, a group of Solamnic auxiliaries rise from their beds on the cold stone floor and begin to make ready for a journey. The tower is all that remains of an old ruined castle and sits on a low hill that provides both a good defensive position and a view of much of the forest's southern edge. It has clear strategic value, but they did not have the numbers to garrison it and are running low on food to boot. Lady Isabeau of Blackstone, leader of the auxiliaries, has offered to stay and watch over the tower, while the others travel south to the outpost of Norhold and return with reinforcements. It's a journey of almost a full day, so they expect to return at the end of the following day. There's a tension in the air today, a feeling like the calm before a storm, and many of the group are feeling restless and uneasy as they make ready for their journey. And I'll let you guys take it away.
Ren wakes up and puts on his newly acquired prize, the gauntlets, and he kind of feels like a vitality fill him and a strength beyond even what he already possesses. It's kind of an odd sight seeing the chainmail and then the steel gauntlets, but it's something that he claimed as victory over the undead that he had helped arrived late and helped defeat in the crypt, so to speak, below the tower, with Isabeau offering to stay behind and guard the ruins. Dalren, who has been very vocal about going to the Sanctum, had wished that his friend Darius was there to go along, as that was the individual that originally pitched the idea to him. But he was up early and ready to embark with the group once they had come together with a plan.
What about the others?
Rubrum is mostly quiet in the morning, impatient to get going. Doesn't seem to mind that Isabeau is staying behind, and he lingers near Baldwin as usual, asking how he is feeling on this day as he has vanquished evil, if he suffered any ill effects from the specter below, and he just asking these questions just to take stock of his health, more or less. And yeah, that's how he'll spend his morning.
Baldwin will answer Rubrum's questions in the affirmative. Yes, he's fine, this, that. As he starts to make ready for the journey, there's a part of him that's uneasy leaving Isabeau here alone, knowing that the disciples of Chemosh could be about, particularly the Bone Acolyte, but orders are what they are, so he's making ready to move on.
And Daesh?
Ash gets up in the morning. He has read all the pages of the diary of the what is the technical term? Wraith?
Yeah, I guess it was from when he was alive, though, when he was a cultist of the death god Chemosh. Yeah, I can take you through what's in that diary, but I'll let you finish describing what Aesh does in the morning, and then I'll take you all through what's in that journal.
Yeah, so Ash, he was sleeping with the diary across his chest, and he wakes up and he looks around, sees everybody's up and kind of milling about doing their thing. He closes the diary and kind of chuckles to himself as to why this individual chose to be in this forsaken place in the dungeons when there is life to be seen everywhere else. And he remembers the research that this individual had done. So he picks up his lute and starts strumming a tune that he's thinking about. He starts saying, "In the light, in the light, in the light. We should walk in the light to see the sanctum." And he kind of goes off tune for a bit and then kind of comes back. And he starts strumming again. So to the sanctum we are going, is it? Right now?
You guys are actually planning to head back south, first of all, to Norhold, to actually try and get people to reinforce this tower. But then if you want to go north to the sanctum, yeah, you can feel free. But I think let me read through the journal so everyone's aware of what's in it, and then you can make some plans maybe when you're back in Norhold with Darius. We'll get the gang back together. Okay, so let me show you the journal. This is the journal of one Valtan Brezar, who describes himself as a true servant of Chemosh. There are multiple entries, but I've just picked out some that are of interest. There are more entries than this, but they're not really relevant. So the first one that's of interest is dated about 6 months ago. It says, "I have been tasked with a great undertaking, that of finding and unsealing the Sanctum Impermissus, last of the ancient Istarian caches of forbidden magic known to remain intact. The sanctum has remained hidden for centuries, guarded by 3 secrets: the location of the start of the path that leads to it, the method of following the enchanted path which is intended to confuse the unworthy, and the method of unsealing the sanctum itself. My recent discovery of a pre-cataclysm inscription in a once drowned Istarian ruin has, I believe, given us one piece of the puzzle. And he has sort of in quotes, as if from the inscription. To ancient eyes alone shall the path be made clear, for youth is rash and corruptible. The Istarian clerics probably intended this to be an elf, a race traditionally aligned with the gods of light. But some elves do turn to the darkness. Would a half-elf be old enough, I wonder? A dwarf? The wording is maddeningly obscure, but finding this phrase is a blessing nonetheless. Others surely know pieces of the puzzle too and will seek this treasure. I am told that the southern reaches of the forest are the domain of a green dragon known to mortals as Verduros, and that the dragon is suspected to know both the location of the path's start and the key to unsealing the vault. The black-robed Kralos has been quite open about his intention to find the sanctum. My superiors tell me that he promises to return sacred artifacts to their respective faiths if we aid him, but I have as little faith in his goodwill as I do in his sanity. The dark faiths are working towards a common goal under his guidance, or at least that is the pretense. We all know that we will turn upon each other at the last, and that is the nature of the game. To be the one who best predicts when the time for cooperation is past, the one to plunge the knife into the other's backs before they can do the same. It seems certain that the sanctum will at last be unsealed, and the treasures that lie within returned to the world. My sacred task is to be there first, and to claim those treasures in the name of the Lord of the Dead. The next entry is about 2 weeks later, so about 5.5 months ago. I have established myself well in this crypt. The bodies laid to rest here have become useful servants, and those of them buried with useful arcane items have obediently brought them to me for collection. I now wear a fine pair of magical rings, and it amuses me to think of how outraged their former owners would be. The enchanted swords and such like I have set aside until I can find a use for them. Then another 2 or 3 weeks later, about 5 months ago, it seems the Knights of Solamnia have returned to Nightland. They are building a wooden castle on the site of the old keep at Norhold. Kralos has told my superiors that the Church of Morgion has already invaded the castle before it is even fully rebuilt. This new settlement will end in failure and death like the last one so long ago. It seems prudent to have plans in reserve though, so I have shared with Arnulf the ritual to become a bone acolyte. The keys to it are faith and a human sacrifice, so the muscle-bound idiot should be able to manage it without me if need be, particularly if my acolyte Namian aids him. I have instructed them to perform the ritual if the Solamnics move in this direction. My work is too important to be interrupted. Then there's about a month of describing his studies until there's another relevant entry. But about 4 months ago it says, I have found the gate. Namian has been scouting likely locations by night and discovered it near the southern edge of the forest. And a description of the location follows. For anyone who is paying attention, it describes, it sounds like the same location that the red-robed mage Lucius told you about. Unfortunately, the dragon's forces guard the arch at the start of the path, and Namian was spotted. Arnulf, useless coward that he is, rather than defending Namian, fled and reported that Namian was lost. Namian later returned unharmed, no thanks to our valiant warrior. The Lord of Bones sets little store in pointless heroism, but Arnulf isn't pragmatic, he's unreliable. I wish now that I'd been able to trust another with the secret of the Bone Acolyte ritual, but what's done is done. Then, about 2 weeks after that, an intolerable imposition. A Solamnic knight and her squire had the temerity to invade my crypt. They retreated, driven away by my minions, the knight mortally wounded. But I cannot be expected to endure interruptions of this nature. I have reported the matter to my superiors and been told that our allies will deal with the matter. Oh, there's a bit of a... Yeah, 3 months ago. I hear the plague has struck Norhold and killed many of the knights and their lackeys. The servants of Morgion have proven their worth. The knights are now reduced in numbers to the point at which they can no longer risk any expansion efforts. I will remain undisturbed. Namian has been acting oddly. He questions me far more than he used to. Then 2 months ago, I have uncovered the incantation to unseal the vault. Hidden away in an obscure account of a similar vault far to the west, long ago plundered by the dragon overlord Manistrix, was a record of the words and a note that all the Astarian vaults of forbidden magic used the same wording. I stand upon the threshold, a true servant of the light, and command that the way be made open. I ask this in full knowledge of the evils which lie within, as one who has faced darkness both within and without. I make this request not for my own glory and power, but in the service of others, and call upon the gods of light to strike me down if I speak false. The catch here is, of course, that the words must be spoken by one who can speak them truly. A difficulty, to be sure, but not the insurmountable obstacle that the Astarians no doubt intended it to be. And 6 weeks ago, I have been evaluating accounts of the knights stationed in Norhold to determine who to take prisoner in order to open the vault. Lord Alfric is too stubborn to be malleable. Young Geraint's character is apparently considered uncertain, but very open to manipulation. I will report that to my superiors. And the young Eleonora seems most unlikely to have faced evil within herself. Perhaps the Dragonborn, Artesh. We will watch them and seek opportunities to test their character. No need to tip our hand too soon. Kralos says he has located someone with the secret of unsealing the Sanctum. He has some sort of plan underway and will be coming to Nightland himself soon. This is most unwelcome. I need to act soon. Namian has been looking through my notes, I am sure of it. A good thing that I hide this journal when I am not writing in it. His disloyalty will be punished. Then only a few days after that last entry. After closely observing Namian, I have come to believe that he is not the man I knew, but instead an impostor wearing his face and form. I do not think that Kralos or any of our dark brethren would risk so direct an action, which leaves only Vergeros. Green dragons are cunning and prefer to infiltrate their enemy, learning their weaknesses before striking. Vergeros is known to be served by Draconians, and therefore my suspicion is a Sivak assassin. Sivak Draconians make excellent spies as they can take the shape of those they have slain. Namian must have been killed and replaced on the night when he found the archway. Another failure to lay at Arnold's feet. The Sivak is a formidable foe, but one I cannot afford to ignore. Best to face him on my terms rather than wait for him to strike. And then there's one final entry, which isn't dated, and the writing's very, very shaky, and the page is heavily bloodstained. I underestimated the Sivak. I slew him in the end, but I am mortally wounded. As I write this, my life's blood drains from me. The physical pain is great, but the mental anguish greater. How frustrating to meet my end before I could open the Sanctum. I will plead with my lord to let me live on here beyond death, to guard from unworthy eyes the secrets I have uncovered. Glory to Chemosh. And that's it for the diary. So Aesh has read those words. If anyone else wanted to, they could have read them as well. So does anyone have any thoughts on that? I'll let you guys take it away.
Yeah, Rubrum maybe is looking over the journal one more time before they leave. And he's considering some things he read. He reads it a couple times, very slowly it appears. And once he is finished, he asks,
"Do you think that whomever would speak these words must be aged? What age do you think would be appropriate?"
he's clearly talking about the passage about opening the gate.
Baldwin would think about it, and I think the first line of that puzzle, the two ancient eyes alone show the path that made clear, is more focused on the age. The second part of it seems more about what someone has faced rather than how old they are.
Perhaps.
How does it matter? Does not the book say that the green dragon knows most? What if we find it out from the green dragon?
I do not think this Vergeros,
That's his name, right? Vergeros?
Vergeros, yeah.
Vergeros. I don't think this Vergeros is eager to give us any details or ideas.
True, but it seems that he was much interested in the contents of this book, and now we have the contents of this book, which means that he must deal with us.
Baldwin thinks about that. Perhaps, but it could also be that the dragon and his servants were merely trying to protect what they perceive as theirs. It is in his territory, according to things we have heard.
That is true. But all dragons are greedy. Maybe we can appeal to his greed. And after all, most likely he is going to try and double-cross us. We double-cross him before.
It is
He
certain
double-crosses
he
us.
will try to double-cross you, but I wonder what protects us from violence of a dragon.
Yes, and what could we even offer him if we were going to try to bargain with him? Not that I would be interested. Vergeros sounds... perhaps not a creature that you should be making deals with.
This journal? But let us tear the pages out we need. Or copy them, at the very least.
Before making a deal with him, it says the arch is guarded by his minions. How many? What force? How strong?
I think we're lacking information before we can make any good decisions. We should know what we're up against before we decide how to proceed. And there's just not enough to know other than where we're supposed to go and ideas of what might be inside of it.
And that is why I say that we must deal with the Green Dragon. For if we are to venture into his territory, where he has a stronghold and he has forces, then the 4 or 5 of us are not going to succeed. It is all in his territory, but he does not have all the information while we do. I do not say that we make a deal to be live up to our end, because that dragon is not going to. So our decision is made for us. We will not be the bad people. He will double-cross us before we double-cross him, but since we anticipate that he's going to double-cross us, it's all fine. But I do know this: if we are going to be skulking around a green dragon's lands, it's not going to be all fun and games.
Yeah, Baldwin looks uneasy about the prospect of negotiating with the dragon. I have concerns that this might be a being of evil, at least duplicity, and I am under oath that I cannot lie. Someone else would have to lead any kind of negotiations with this creature.
Do we need to lie? To be frank, we could just give him the information he needed. But do it in a way that we all get to the sanctum.
Lying might depend on what he asks.
Would he not just ask for this journal?
Suppose he suspects some sort of duplicity on our end, such as taking the pages out, and he was keen enough to ask about it.
Perhaps it is best to simply copy them. Then we do not have to lie. If that is a problem, he looks over to Aish.
Oh, I do not lie. I merely imply. That's what all great bards do. Somewhere between the truth and fiction lies always a great tale. Maybe this dragon is interested in listening to a great tale. Who knows? But know this. We must deal with the dragon. We have no choice. We are going to be entering its lands. Whether we make it to the sanctum without raising its suspicions, we will still no doubt meet it when we leave the sanctum. So the choice is before or after, but we must deal with the green dragon nonetheless.
Even if we do we have everything we need? Do we know what this puzzle has in store for us? If we give it
Maybe we
the journal to the dragon, he may understand it before we do. And then what need does he have of us?
Unless, weird man, is there a way to make a diary appear not the way it appears? We could always create a new diary, send the dragon in a different direction.
He
We could
would still
also
need
take-
us. He would still need us because of how to open this sanctum. He cannot... If this dragon is as duplicitous as we imagine, and likely self-serving, then he cannot speak these words truly in order to access the sanctum to begin with. He would need someone who can.
Can any of you do this? You must be
Ash
sure.
gives Rubrum an impish smile like, what do you think?
I don't know if we can do it, but I say never deal with a dragon.
I'm inclined to agree with Dalrend on that.
Then it is blood. Very well. Or we could perhaps sneak past. Do you think it's possible?
Territory is vast. We could confront his servants and have a better chance at defeating them than I think a dragon. I would not shy away from the fight, but I would not be eager to meet it either. This is all just speculation. I think our first task should be to return south. That is a clear route forward. And then, once we've gotten some reinforcements or someone to garrison this tower and report our success, and when we're coming back, we can perhaps formulate a plan.
So be it.
Hey, Wanderer, what's the name of that other wizard that we took shelter at?
His name's Lucius, the Red Rogue
Lucius.
Wizard.
Yes. Maybe we should also seek counsel with the Red Robe Wizard Lucius. Weird-mans are known to have a lot of knowledge. They might have books, maps, something that we can refer to aid in our journey. He did know a lot about these lands.
If he
And
is
he,
still
I believe,
there,
has ancient eyes.
He was in Norhold when we left, was he not?
Yes, he was. He was helping Eleonora.
Then let us
He-
hope he is still there.
He could still be there. He did say he was at least going to spend the day, but he seemed to like being around company. Perhaps he got caught up at the inn. decide to stay another night.
Then let us not tarry. It is a long road.
Very well.
Rubrum puts his staff on the ground and starts walking.
Okay. Being Rubrum, he probably doesn't even look back at
Nope.
Isabeau.
Nope, not at all.
Okay. Did the others leave like that, or does anyone?
No, Rend will go to Isabeau. Are you going to be okay by yourself here?
And she nods and says yes. She'll be okay. She's gonna kind of barricade the door once you guys have gone best she can. She's
goodbyes as well.
a little worried about spending the night here, but thinks it's better than leaving it open to just get taken again. And I checked through this with Slip that that's what she'd be okay with.
Ash will go up to Isabeau and say, I would spend the night here with you, Isabeau, but then I do not trust myself. You may be safer by yourself here than with me, keeping you company. But worry not, I shall be back soon.
She is unimpressed.
Ren shakes his head, laughs, and he slaps, kind of pats her on the shoulder. We'll be back. Don't worry.
And she nods. I think she's probably still a little bit annoyed with Talrend about the comment about saying he'd seen her naked. But yeah, she takes it in the spirit in which it's meant and nods and thanks him as she starts to close the door. Right. Okay, we've got a fairly short session, so unless there's stuff you guys want to do on the way, I'll just fast forward through the journey.
Yeah, well, keep on trucking back to Norhold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dabble rolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, by the end of the day, you know, you walk through the day, and as night falls, you make it back to Norhold. You notice that on guard at the gate is another of the auxiliaries, Garen. He was head of the auxiliaries until Isabeau arrived, but he doesn't seem to hold any ill will because of that. And he nods as he sees you approaching, and by the time you get there, he comes down to meet you in the gateway, which is open. And he says, "So, how'd it go at the tower then?"
Did you mean to flip the screen? Because it's still...
Oh, is it?
By the way, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's the new thing I keep forgetting. Thank you very much. I think it's better overall, the new page organizer, but I still keep forgetting to move the bookmark. Okay, so yeah, this is Garen. Yeah. Yeah, he as I say, he comes down, meets you in the gateway and says, "So, how did it go at the old tower then?" And then he looks around the group and looks worried and says, "Is Lady Isabeau all right?"
Oh, yes, she's fine. We were successful in taking the tower, though there was difficulty. Undead and a wraith as well, but we succeeded. We're returning to report, and then if there's anyone who can garrison it, we would take them back with us. There is something else we're trying to investigate up north.
Oh, right. Well, you best see his lordship then. And he rolls his eyes slightly and then inclines his head in the direction of the tower up here.
And Ren kind of says to Ash, not quietly, maybe we should go to the inn first and somebody can fetch Lord Geraint and have him come down to us. You can tell him his lady Isabeau needs reinforcement at the new outpost of the Solamnic Order.
I can go and deal with Geraint. And he realizes how he says it, and he I can go speak with Geraint if the rest of you wanted to wait at the inn a moment. I understand it can be a bit tense in his presence.
Even Baldwin. Even Baldwin can't stand it.
No.
Ash looks to Dalren. Yes, of course I was going to the tavern. It's been a long journey. Someone like me needs my drink.
Well, Baldwin, if you think it's best to talk to him alone, I won't stop you, but just be sure to mention how I probably saved everyone, including Isabeau, but that's fine.
I wouldn't dream of forgetting it. I'll head off towards the keep.
Okay, to save time, I'll just message you with what happens there. Ghost can do that over messaging. The rest of you, you go over to the inn, and there in the inn, Karen is no longer there. She's actually she's left now. But you do see Darius sitting there at a table with another woman that you haven't seen before. Let me put her here.
She's tiny.
Yeah, she's a tiny person.
Kinder.
I need to put her name in here. And yeah, so she's sitting there and they're laughing together, I expect. Do you want to take it away, Bo? Talk about what's going on as you enter. You guys have been here for most of the day talking, and probably a fair amount of watered down ale has been flowing, so you're probably both a little bit more relaxed now.
Darius has been talking to Zanil, or Shadowhand, and shortly after breakfast, Shadowhand showed up, and they've been knocking down the ales after the eggs and bacon, and a few ales more, and a few crusts of bread. Obviously not enough crusts of bread, as Darius kind of stands up from Zanil and says, Shadowhand, I'll be back in a minute with another round, but at first, I must relieve myself. He tries to step away from the bench, and his boot kind of catches on to the bench, and he trips. Spill.
And she laughs her head off, and says, she says, if you're off to the privy, I'm going to carry my own drink. And she inclines her head towards Jeffrem and says, 2 more, please. And she puts a gold coin on a steel coin on the table.
Yeah, he heads off to the loo, and we'll soon be back when the others are probably walking in.
So the others will enter.
Yeah, Rend, as he's walking in, kind of maybe making an offhanded joke to Ash or something, he kind of sees Darius and Shadowhand, and kind of stops and this is a weird smile on his face, and he kind of moves over as Darius is walking out. He goes, "What?" And he kind of catches himself. He's like, "Are you a friend of Darius?"
Could you make a deception check? And anyone who wants can make an insight check if they want to analyze Dalren's behavior at this point. Darius, you will have to make yours at disadvantage because you're a bit drunk.
Okay. What is it? Perception?
I'm very perceptive with people.
I am.
What'd you want? Mine's perception or deception?
It's insight. Insight.
Insight at a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Okay. how to figure this out here.
And Ayesh doesn't care, which is great. I love it.
Oh crap! Well, it's a 1. So.
Oh, yeah. No, you're too busy being face down on the floor.
So.
Try not to throw up. Okay, Rubrum, you get this. You find this really interesting. Briefly, like for a split second before it then immediately bores you. Which is that you realise that for some reason Dalren recognises her. She doesn't recognise him at all, but he looks at her and he looks like he's about to go, "Oh hi," and then immediately just sort of says, "Oh, you must be a friend of Darius." And for Rubrum, I'm sure that's interesting for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, Rubrum just turns to Aish and says,
Why is he being deceptive? He knows that one.
And she looks over and says, "No, I don't think so. I don't think so."
yeah, Rubrum's trying to talk. He thinks he's talking quietly, but he's like talking where everyone can hear.
Right. Does anyone react to it?
Ren definitely turns around, gives him a look. He goes, "Oh, I just I just know her from stories that I've been told from a mutual acquaintance."
Rubrum shrugs.
And she sort of smiles and says, "All good, I hope."
Oh,
Me and
yes.
Darius go way back.
Yes, two of the hands. I'm familiar with you. I've heard the stories over the years. Darius
comes back from the bathroom at that point and plops down. Ah, the 2 hands. Although sometimes I just need 1.
Yes, we all know which wanders more, your eyes or your hands.
Anyway, I see you've met Zanil.
And she looks across at Darius and goes, "One hand, Darius? You just need a thumb and a forefinger." And she winks.
Only in the winter, my dear. need the humidity to bring the size out of the boys.
Rubrum is really confused.
He has children?
And he shrugs and walks over to Jeffrem to get some wine.
Anyhow, Zanil, Shadowhand, these are my compatriots, my partners in crime and fellow auxiliary members here. He's kind of got the Captain Jack sway going on, you know. Ayesh, bard extraordinaire. To hear him sing is to hear angels cry. And Dalrand is handsome as he is powerful. And that one over there, he's too hot to handle. I would stay away. And he takes a drink. Oh.
And Ren kind of sits down and he just gives a motion of his hand to Jeffrem to bring over a large quantity of ale. Because he has money to pay for it for a change. And so, Shadowhand, what brings you to Norhold?
Darius answers. He slams in. She came here to kill me.
And she laughs and goes, "Ha, such an imagination." And then
It's true.
She's looking daggers at Darius.
My dear, you came here to kill me, but it's only my charm and my most handsome visage that, again, has saved my skin. But alas, Zanil, I believe, Ayesh and Dalrand, if you could join me in party, should join our merry band, as opposed to the dreary mad necromancer.
Necromancer? The one that's been trying to kill you, you say? I assume. What other necromancer would there be?
Rubrum grunts.
I could have made 500 steel.
Oh, it's not too late.
think I'm past my due. It was only that day that I had to return. You're lucky, Darius. Lucky indeed.
I am a lucky elf. Half. I'm half lucky. But I would be full lucky if Shadowhand joined our band.
Dalren kind of does this like over dramatic sniff in the vicinity of Darius, and I smell a great amount of booze on this man. Tell me, Shadowhand, is that true? Is that why you're here? For Darius?
And she smiles and says, "You know what? Let's have this conversation a little more quietly, shall we?" And she's smiling very pleasantly, but she is looking daggers at Darius for speaking so loudly.
He's not known for discretion.
No, he's absolutely not. Does anyone sort of sit down and talk quietly at the table?
Yeah, Ren's already sitting. He's gonna wait for booze, and then he'll chat quieter.
Okay. Is Aesh joining them? X?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And yeah, you sort of sit down, and ale is brought over, so Neil's paying for everyone. And she seems to have a plentiful supply of steel. Sorry, I was a bit distracted there. I was doing going through with Ghost what was happening with Geraint. She once everyone sits down, she kind of rubs her eyes a little bit and says, "Oh, where do I start? Darius and I used to know each other in, well,
Carnal
city to the north.
knowledge.
No, he wishes." And
I don't think she'd stoop that low.
She said, "You're right there." Some of us have got standards, eh, Darius? And she winks. She says, "No, we were always good friends. He was almost like a brother to me growing up. An older brother, but yeah. No, I left when I got an offer to be apprenticed to a wizard. A man named Kralos. He's he's a very skilled wizard, but he's not a nice man." And she kind of like holds up the kind of hem of her sleeve, kind of holds up her sleeve, her black sleeve, and says, I passed the test at the Tower of High Sorcery and entered the Order of Black Robes. I've done some dodgy things, but I'm not evil, capital E, right?" And she looks across at Darius and then sighs and says, "My master, though, he's pretty capital E. He's also, he's not very sane. He imprisoned Darius a while back. I didn't know what to say. I could hear him torturing you, Darius. I'm so sorry. I thought I couldn't do anything. Maybe I couldn't. Maybe I could. I don't know. Truth be told, I was scared. If I'd have done anything, he had that toad of a man, Lenny, watching me. I'm sorry." And she hadn't told you this until this point, Darius.
Yeah, I think Darius would be a little taken aback here. Let's see, I'm gonna roll a little bit something here. That's real strange how that didn't go through, did it?
No.
Huh. It was 8. That's fine. So it's low. So he doesn't have the wisdom, I think, to kind of keep his thoughts to himself, and kind of stands up, and he has his mug of ale in his hand, and looks at Shadowhand. Almost looks like he's just going to smash it like onto her head. But then just drains it and instead just throws it on the floor and it clatters. Geoffram kind of looking his way. He says, I can imagine the pursuit of knowledge and riches, but to know you are hearing me being tortured, you did nothing, Zanil. Not even I could sink so low.
She shakes her head and says, I'm sorry, Darius. I really am. I was scared. I thought I didn't know what he was really capable of until that moment, and it scared me. I thought that if I tried to help, I'd just end up there too. And the one thing that scared me more than hearing you in pain was thinking of it happening to me. He's a bad man, Darius. He is really evil through and through, and
he's a fucking awful man. Don't mince words, Emil.
Yeah, he is.
It's a boot. He has that taste of toady. That little Lenny bastard.
Oh, Lenny. The number of times I've almost arranged a little accident for Lenny.
But you didn't, Zanil. But you didn't. Listen. He's kind of tipsy and probably way too close to Shadowhand and taking his finger and poking it at her. How many years did we operate together? 10, 20, 30? I don't even know, because those were good days. They blended together.
5 years, Darius. 5.
5? If it's 5, it's 10. He says, you've thrown your lot in with this mad necromancer. God damn it, fuck you. He kind of leans back. Well, I can't quit you, Zanil. There's a reason you didn't kill me, am I right?
Yeah.
I've seen you do some dirty deeds, my friend, and if you wanted me gone, I would have been gone long ago. But instead, we sit here having drinks. So are you going to turn on this creep?
I'm not going to confront him if that's what you mean, but look, you're right. We've been talking and you're right. I should leave. I should get out. I've learned a lot from him, but I don't need to learn anymore. I can teach myself now. I can find a new master. I can study in the
yourself, and you can pay your debts, Anil. Pay your debts by helping us. Because between you and me, I don't want you dead because I think of you as my sister. But that mad necromancer, I'd like to drown him with my own 2 hands.
Darius, you don't know what you're talking about. He's powerful. He'd drain the life from you. He'd kill you in 1,000 different ways. He's very powerful. Don't try it. And don't go up against him either. Just, if you're not going to give him the dice, then just leave. Just escape. Get out of here. Don't go after the Sanctum. He's determined to get it. And she's
not that powerful if he sent you to kill me.
Or he thinks you're that beneath him.
No, he thought... He wanted me to do it subtly. He found out that we used to be friends, and he wanted me to approach you as a friend, and then...
Darius starts to look at the mug he's been drinking out of it.
She said, and she reaches into her robe slowly and pulls out a little pouch, and she puts it on the table. It's still full, she says. None of it went in your drink. And she slides it across the table, giving it to Darius.
Help me get revenge.
I can't.
Does this relate to that sanctum or nah? I'm trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. So what she was telling you earlier in the day is this Kralos is after the Sanctum. And the reason he wants your dice is that apparently there is another Dark Cleric here secretly in the outpost. She's been keeping her voice down about this, but there's another Dark Cleric here in the outpost, a cleric of Hijikel, God of Lies. And he's somewhere here, and he has the last piece of information that Kralos needs. And he said that he will give it in return for the dice, because the dice are a sacred object of Hijikel. He's the God of Lies and Deception.
Oh yeah, obviously he's trustworthy then.
Yeah. Were you going to ask anything about that in front of the others, or was that just something you wanted to know as a player?
Yeah, just as a player, I think. Right now, probably keep it close.
Okay. It's about at this time that Baldwin walks in, probably from this side. And we can't see Baldwin's face, of course, because of his mask, so we can't read his expression, but is there anything we can tell from the way Baldwin's walking?
Absolutely. It's not so much... So coming into the door, it's not so much walking as he explodes in. It's probably the angriest he's ever opened the door. It just bursts through it, basically. Not like he's trying to run through and there's something amiss, but just a very angry kind of stride in through the door. Immediately goes over to where Joffrum is. Joffrum, might I have an ale? Breathing heavy, pissed off, fists clenched.
Well, I would say it looks like things went swimmingly.
Is he still mad at
Absolutely
me?
not. One moment. Joffrum, ale, please.
Yes, of course, Baldwin. And he pours an ale and comes across to you and says, "Are you all right, sir?"
No. And I pay him, and I go and sit next to the others.
Excellent. Everyone kind of shuffles up, we'll say, and Darius comes down here and you shuffle in next to Baldwin, who's a great person to be with when you're not in a good mood and you just need someone to be sensitive around you.
Yeah, so I sit down heavily and start drinking. I drink the whole ale before I speak. Just slam it down the table.
As he's chugging it, Ren just kind of... Because he knows he's pissed, but he's just like, well, is he still upset that I've seen Isabeau naked more than him? He laughs and just like slams another drink down.
It is perhaps uncouth of me to say it, but I fear Geraint is a fool. And he kind of rubs his chin. I reported our success in taking back the tower. And these are all good things, but I found that there's been no answer on the request for reinforcements that he made with Solamnia, and that Solanarin has not returned from his trip south. I believe Geraint has taken all of this news very ill at ease. He agreed to send back auxiliaries to the tower, 5 of them, to keep it guarded. But he's beginning to put his gaze on things that are pointless, a waste of his time, actively detrimental to the outpost. He's convinced that Artesh is going to be a problem. Of all people, the most loyal of the knights. He can't see past what someone looks like. I tried to talk to them about it. I was dismissed.
Now, is he receiving bad advice? Or is someone counseling him in this manner? Or is he simply just that stupid?
He...
It really seemed like he'd been brooding on it, Baldwin. he's probably had no one to talk to now with Kalinius dead, and it really seemed like he'd been brooding and kind of spiraling in on his own thoughts.
Baldwin he'll sit there and consider what Doran's saying, and I think that these are thoughts of Geraint. And perhaps Kalinius stoked them when he was alive, but the man is dead, there would be no more reason to think this way. And he looks around to see who else is in the tavern, because he sees the person that is there that he does not recognize, and realizes he said all this, and is like, I'm sorry, who is this, before I continue?
Oh, she's a friend. A friend of Darius, therefore a friend of us.
Yeah, Baldwin's not sure. He looks at Darius, looks at her. I think that Geraint may be a detriment to the people here. And he is 100% earnest when he says it.
Dalaran kind of... Go ahead,
No,
Rubrum.
Rubrum just asks, and who would be his replacement?
I cannot think of such things, and that's almost a little too far. But it's not. It's a very half-hearted response.
And then, just by perfect narrative coincidence, there are shouts from outside.
Oh, Baldwin's up and out.
Strangers are approaching, and then someone says, "Banner of the Knights!" And so you going outside. There's people are stirring and leaving the inn. Shadowhand doesn't.
Yeah, Darius should probably.
Ren gets up and he kind of, Darius, you need help, and then he looks at Shadowhand. Care to tag along?
And she smiles and says, "I think I'll stay here for a bit. And, I think, but you seem to know Darius." And she's looking at Dalaran like she's trying to figure him out. And she said, "You seem to know Darius. If you're a friend of his, convince him that he can't take on Kralos."
He just kind of gives a nod and goes, "We'll see."
Outside, you see people going to the gates. The gates are open, and Garen is waving and shouting at someone to the south. He seems very pleased. You see Geraint has come out of the tower here, and because he can see a lot more from that height up there, he is standing and looking to the south as well, and there is a slight smile on his face, but his face is twitching, and he seems a little conflicted. And then as you wait and watch a little further, you see a Solamnic knight, a Knight of the Rose, ride in through the gates, leading a column of troops. But the troops aren't what you expected. The knight himself seems absolutely as you'd expect. He's he's wearing shining armor. He's a man perhaps in his mid to late 30s. A battle hardened. He looks like he's a battle hardened veteran. He's got, the armor is shiny, but it's obviously had a lot of dings in its time. He has a couple of small scars. His nose looks like it's been broken and reset. But he has a sort of calm air about him. But the troops he's leading are not Solamnic. They appear to be a group of mercenaries, about half of them human and half of them draconian. And there's a little bit of a hush comes over the people as they realise this, because these mercenaries look rough as hell. They look less trustworthy than the Knights of Naraka and their footmen that came through. But he's leading them in proudly. And as he takes his horse round to the stables and drops it off, and then walks over to Garen, who's come down from the tower, and says, "Ah, my good man, I am Lord Edwin Astel. I am here to relieve your commander. Geraint, I believe. Is he? Ah!" And he looks up, and Geraint's coming down the steps here. And he says, "Ah, wonderful. I will go and see him and give him the news." And he walks over to go and meet Geraint. Meanwhile, all the other mercenaries are all looking round the place. They seem to have broken up into small groups that are sort of huddling and whispering amongst themselves and really looking the place over. There are about 40 of them total. How do you guys react? Some of the mercenaries are definitely sizing you up.
Rend, he's gonna bow up for sure if anybody's eyeballing him.
Yeah, several of them are.
Baldwin this is help, however it looks. He will go up and begin to greet some of them, introduce himself, welcome to the settlement, and things like that.
Rend will
Yeah.
go ahead.
A lot of them...
Great relief knowing that someone else is replacing Geraint after the conversation he just had.
Lord Edwin seems fine, but these troops, talking to them, you get a bad feeling. They seem to be almost laughing at you. "All right, my lordship? Yeah, absolutely fine." And they're sort of chuckling, behind your back. As soon as you go from one group to another, the one that you've just left starts chuckling amongst themselves.
Not
You're getting a really bad vibe.
Yeah, Ren's gonna find the biggest one and just walk right up to him, kind of like lean down close. He goes, "The last person that eyeballed me like that wanted to dance with me. Some bar wench in some town that I've forgotten. Tell me, little man, do you want to dance with me?"
And the group start chuckling, and they no one actually quite responds to that. There's a few comments. One of them seems like he's about to step up, but then one of the others puts a hand on his chest and whispers something in his ear, and he goes, "Nah, no problem, we're all good, we're here to help." And he grins a little too widely.
Hired help. You're dismissed then. And even though he walked up to where they were standing, he's shooing them away. He's not going to leave. He's going to make sure they leave and go somewhere else.
They do in the end, resentfully. Yeah, there's definitely an odd vibe here. Lord Edwin walks up to Geraint. Is anyone anywhere close to them?
I think Rubrum probably would have went home to his little house.
Okay.
I can't see him thinking this is of any interest whatsoever.
I love it. Yeah. You wouldn't. Okay. Yeah. Rubrum, could you make a perception check?
Yeah, let's see. Perception.
Yeah, there is an elven woman across the street. She's looking at you. You notice there are the mercenaries were giving her some sort of wolf whistles and stuff like that, and she steered clear of them. But now she appears to be looking at you, and she pauses and makes eye contact with you, and you see that she has really intense green eyes.
Yeah, he says,
They are
She's-
not. And he looks back and can I do an insight? Or
Yeah.
Arcana even?
Or what would the arcana be? If you tell me what you're trying to do, I can tell you.
Well,
and you can kind of code it if you mean what I think you mean.
yeah, just trying to figure out if I know who this person is across from me.
Right. So, yeah, if you're trying to figure out something of her nature, then it could be an Arcana. If you're trying to figure out something of her intentions, it's going to be an Insight.
I think Arcana.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And she walks over. She's wearing his half mask, and she walks over very demurely and walks over, head down, and says, "Sir, my brother is absent, and the streets seem a little full of rough types. Would you perhaps escort me back to my house?"
He looks to her and says, "And where would that be?"
Just a little way from here, and she kind of indicates, just down the one street here,
Yeah.
and kind of off to the side.
He just says, "Fine."
Okay. Darius, Aesh, what are you doing? I'll come back to you, Rube.
Darius would probably kind of walk up to Rand and say, "I don't mind these boys. They might look like they're disciplined, but they don't know when to show respect. It's always the same, people that fight for money, although sometimes I also fight for money, but it's more stealing in my case."
Yeah. Ren kind of leans down, whispers, "Look, I know this is a wild, untamed land, and the knights will hire whoever they can to help hold it and take more of it. With that said, think before you start gambling and trying to rip them off. They won't have any hesitation to cut that cock of yours off and stuff it down your throat if you betray them or rob them."
Point well taken. Point well taken. That was hard. That was hard. He does not argue with the bull. Because sometimes you argue with the bull, you go get the horns.
And what's Aesh doing?
Ash is kind of standing around, and then he eventually sits down on a bunch of chopped up logs, and he's strumming his lute. He listens to what Dalrend and Darius are talking about, and he strums the lute and came into town, Lord Estelle, with a bunch of thugs he could not tell. And he starts strumming again, trying to come up with more words. And he looks at these people. "Beware, Darius. We may be amongst cock gobblers. They may not be gamblers like you." And he starts strumming his lute again.
And it sounds like no one was near Lord Edwin and Geraint, right? So you don't...
I think I'd probably be down towards kind of the bottom of the hill here, where the inn is.
As much as Ren likes to twist the knife in Geraint as much as possible, he probably would not be near the commander of the release force and Geraint while they talk. He's more about measuring dicks with all the hired mercenaries.
So he, you see them talking, and Geraint sort of leans in at one point, and he's saying something quite intensely, and Lord Edwin suddenly raises his voice just a little bit and says, "Geraint, this is not appropriate. We should talk in private." And he kind of stalks up the stairs to the tower. Geraint kind of trails behind him, almost muttering to himself. and they enter up there. Garen kind of shakes his head and goes back to the gatehouse.
Well, looked like that went well.
Yeah, this place is having to hire these sorts of mercenaries. I imagine it's gotta run the coffers dry. If I was Geraint, I would resent it, at least in some measure.
I acknowledge what they're doing and what the people they're doing, why they're doing it. That doesn't mean I'll trust them any more or less. Desperate times sometimes call for desperate measures, and these mercenaries are those measures.
Yeah. Well, no matter what happens here, the important thing is that it will be recorded in song. Isn't that right, Hayesh?
I can only write songs of people who are worthy. These men, meh. They'll be here today, gone tomorrow. The next lord who comes with a bag of coin, they'll tuck tail and run away. Such is the fate of such men, who can be bought and sold easily.
Tuck tail and run away with their coin. Let's just hope they don't run away when we need them. I think Geraint must have brought them here for a reason. Are we expecting more attacks?
Geraint is a fool who has his position because of familial ties. Nepotism is how he runs this place. He has neither the wits nor the tools, for he is a tool unto himself. There are knights amongst us who could make this place a shining example for all of Norhold, but no, it will be politics, family, lords, ladies, and all the usual actors. And watch, they will suck this place dry and then they will leave. That is how evil takes root. That always has, always will.
An alternate theory: the Knights of Solamnia are spread thin or aren't as powerful as they lead people to believe, and this is what they were able to muster. When they went and sent for help, this is the best they were able to do.
Maybe so. But when you have leaders like Geraint, then even the best will not stand up and step up. Before these men came, this place had knights of valor. They still do. But a tool like him cannot see it. And since he cannot see it, he will have other lords lord over him. But what do we care? Gents, we have our own business. The sanctum awaits. Or is that not important and this land is more important?
We know my answer. It's the sanctum. But I also don't want to see evil and people like those hobgoblins prevail in this area either.
True. But to lead men like these, we need a leader. I believe, and he kind of looks around to see where Baldwin is. I believe he can lead, he can inspire. But he must believe in himself first.
I think Baldwin would probably make a fine leader. His biggest flaw is that face of his.
It is true, not everyone can be as pretty as Ash. And you have spent too much time with me, Dalrend. Know this, that your friend Ash is just one. He's like one. The only one. You'll never see anyone as beautiful as me ever. So be kind on everyone else.
Have you been drinking too? Like, Talron's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Ash is drinking. He came out of as he's talking and he puts his lute down from his back. He pulls out a bottle of wine that he's been drinking. As these people come in, he's like still drinking and he's sitting there and he's expounding all these philosophical drivel.
I say we go back to the inn and wait to see what's settled between this new lord and Geraint, and we find a way to make sure the tower's reinforced and make our way to the Sanctum and figure out what to do from there.
It's not a bad idea.
Okay. Rubrum, what do they see when they look down? Yeah, presumably people are looking around. What will they see from down the street?
You see Rubrum almost face to face, perhaps more close than you would expect, talking to an elvish woman, correct? And
yes, she wears a half mask over.
Yeah,
the top
and they're
half of
just
her face.
back and forth talking, and if you can hear,
They won't be able to
yeah,
hear.
you can't hear, but it's just back and forth, and then suddenly the elf turns abruptly and walks off.
Yeah, and you notice her way of walking is quite different. You've seen her about a few times, but most of you've never talked to her. She's normally very sort of demure, head down and everything, and this time she just strides off from Rubrum, looking very determined and confident. But she just strides off back to what you presume is her house. How does Rubrum look?
It's not a... Usually his expression is very blank. Even when he's upset about something, that is one time you see emotion on his face. He might speak with emotion, but like his facial features usually don't betray them. And he almost looks smug. He's got like a curled mouth, with the lip, lifted up, almost in a snarl, almost like a dog barking, just like for a moment, almost burying his teeth.
How do you guys react?
Yeah, Dalrend kind of goes up and he goes, I'm confused. You're showing emotion. Clearly something is wrong.
Not wrong. I have a way into the Sanctum.
Who? What? Explain.
That was Verderos.
Who was what? And he's like looking around, not even comprehending that he's referring to the woman.
The elf that I was speaking to.
That was a dragon.
Yes.
You think you know who that is? That's Elisira. That's Solannaran's sister.
I don't understand. So the dragon's been pretending to be someone's sister this whole time?
I should add, by the way, that Solannaran returned alongside Lord Edwin and these mercenaries And he went off in the direction of the same house a little earlier.
This is what I am saying. Verderos is a green dragon known for deception, spying, lying, and deceit. He warned me to leave, stating that his forces would come here soon and strike this place down.
You think that Verderos may have one more deceit. You think that Verderos is actually female.
Oh, I see. Yep.
You think it's not just a
Okay,
female form,
yeah.
You think Verderos actually is. You're not quite sure why
Yeah,
you think that, but
switch
you've got
the
an
pronouns
instinct for it.
then, what he just said.
Yep.
Yeah. Perhaps
You as a player wouldn't know that because I didn't make it clear. So.
Gotcha.
perhaps we need to go to my house and discuss this in private.
Very well.
Yeah, he'll lead him to the house by the pond to speak quietly and alone.
Any of the others going to... You going to tell any of the others?
Yeah, he's gonna get Esh, Darius. He's gonna invite Shadowhand, and he's actually gonna go grab Baldwin as well.
Okay. Let me see if I can find something. I think I will use... It's not perfect, but I'm going to use this scene here.
It's Baldwin's face. Oh no!
It's idiot!
he's so
Caught me
upset. He's
bathing.
changing his face.
Are we the
And
baddies?
God,
Look at this guy.
Caught me bathing.
No wonder he doesn't name progeny. It's bullshit.
Yeah, no hope at all.
He's gonna have to be the baghead.
Will Shadowhand come too, or no?
Yes, she will. She's a little bit bemused and like you.
At least I know she won't kill me. I don't know if she'll help, but like, alright.
Yeah, you're pretty sure she won't kill
Where
you.
am
You think
I?
you persuaded her to leave Kralos, but she's not going to take him on, and she's not.
I kind of feel like, like those kind of cliche movies where there's like the two spies that are friends but also adversaries. Like,
Yeah. it's a
she would
little
whip
bit
out a
like
blade, there another blade would cross it.
that. Okay, is that all of you? I think that's everyone, right? No, who am I missing? I'm missing someone.
The best.
I am.
The
The best.
Yeah,
Alright.
missing the person who's going to be doing all the talking.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put you
Yes, I can
up
get
there,
this.
Rubrum. Okay.
Yeah. Go. You can go ahead and set the scene. Just
Okay, so you all enter this little house, which is Dalren's, the abandoned house. And then, I guess, do you want to take it away, Dalren?
Yeah, the house has obviously been cleaned up since Kalenius was killed by them. One of Dalren's skill sets, not that he talks ever about it, is carpentry, and he's made some furniture that suits his larger frame. It's got maybe a large table with several chairs in the commons area. It's very basic, very Spartan, but then again, Minotaurs aren't known for the flair that, say, a bard is, like Esh. But as everybody comes in, he offers them, gets out a tankard and gets everybody something to drink before having them all sit. And he kind of remains standing, and he just goes, well, I'm glad you all could make it. It seems we have learned something very important that our friend Rubrum here is now going to explain in great detail and use more than 2-word sentences to illuminate us all on something that is quite serious.
I did not use 2 words. I told you plainly that Verderos is here. Snooping about. She has been here for a while, I think.
Wait, Verderos is a she?
It
A female
appears
green
so.
dragon.
I saw her
Oh,
only
no.
earlier.
More interesting. More interesting. I have never spent time with a female green dragon. Oh, do continue, Rubrum.
She warned me to leave, offered to pay me, but stated that this place was doomed and that she had plans to invade it and destroy it. I have bought us some
Why?
time.
Why does she
How?
want it destroyed?
She did not say particularly, but my guess is that it is simply too close to her domain to feel comfort.
Well, and then Baldwin taking it in, also giving like a little side eye to Ash about the implication. Looks back to Rubrum and how did you buy time exactly? And how do you know that this is Vertiros? Who is this?
I believe she is someone. Who did you say, Dowrind? I do not keep track of the name of these people.
I believe it was it Eleanor's sister?
An elf with a half mask.
It's her name's Elisira. None of you have really talked to her. I think once off camera she did a little bit of sewing for Aesh when he had some clothing damaged.
Is it Solinarin's sister or is it
Solinarin's sister?
Okay,
Eleanor is
Solinarin,
Oh,
the one that we
know.
Solinarin, the
know
one we escorted to the river. Her sister or his sister.
What? And that's Baldwin that says, no, you're certain.
I am certain.
That would mean that Solinarin he would have been in league with Vertiros from the beginning then.
It is possible. Unless he is magically controlled, the green dragons can do much.
Yeah, Baldwin kind of rubbed his chin. Well, I mean, we need to take this information to the new commander, certainly.
No, I think not. We should head to the Sanctum.
If we don't tell them this is going to happen, they're going to get bulldozed. They're going to get ran over by a green dragon and their forces.
They will be destroyed anyway, unless you want them to retreat.
What if we give the green dragon what the green dragon wants?
Exactly.
And if you say what the green dragon wants is Aesh, that's not what.
It is the deal I made.
Which is?
That we will go there, open the gate with your purity, and split the reward. The Sanctum.
Me? And Baldwin looks kind of taken, like he's not.
Vertiros asked for you, Isabeau, specifically, and I agree.
Did you not remember me telling you not to make deals with dragons?
I don't recall you saying anything about that.
Yeah, Baldwin, he rubs his chin. And that doesn't guarantee the safety of this place, does it? Or is that included as part of the deal?
It was not discussed.
You've met Rubrum, right?
I would like it to be included if I'm going to agree with this.
I would have to speak to her again. Is she even still here? It is doubtful. But perhaps we can find one at the Sanctum that would protect this place.
It could happen while we're away.
I think not. She will be more invested in following us from a distance, so when we open the gate, she can pass through.
Kill us and pass through, you mean, Rubrum.
Ash is right. How are we going to deal with her? She's most certainly going to betray us.
We will have to figure it out.
Baldwin looks at Ash with 100% seriousness. Can you seduce a dragon?
Regardless of the truth, you know what Ash believes.
Ash looks at Baldwin with the most serious face Baldwin has ever seen, and he tells him, "I have seduced an ocean goddess. A green dragon is but a trifle, my paladin."
Is this motherfucker telling me the truth?
You can
Yep.
make an insight check.
Ren is just going to hold his head in his hand sight and just mumbles out, "We're
I
all
will-
going to die."
I will use my inspiration to get advantage on this.
Okay.
Oh my fucking god.
That is enough that you are sure that he is sincere in his belief that is what he has done. It's really obvious that he is absolutely sincere in this and proud of it.
Yeah, Baldwin just kind of looks at Ash for a little bit. There's like this, he's stunned because to him it seems like he's telling the absolute truth. I think that could be our plan, yes. He looks at everybody else just, again, just 100% certain in what he's saying. Ash, it may all ride on you.
What's Rubrum's thought on this? Does he think that someone could seduce a dragon?
It's pretty unlikely. Greens are very subtle.
Yeah.
There have been several cases of dragons in mortal form falling in love with mortals. It's happened multiple times in
It's
history.
there.
But it's very unlikely. Greens are very smart, and if Ash just shows up out of nowhere and just goes, "Hey,
Yeah.
here you go."
Rubrum just says, "I don't think so. It is unlikely a dragon would fall in love with you or let you seduce her. She is smarter than you."
Smartness has got nothing to do with seduction, weird man. It actually hinders. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. That's up to me to seduce her or not to seduce her.
It's something to consider anyhow. Look, I think that you've bought us time. I appreciate that. If you could add that to the deal to keep this place safe, then I will go. I will go and do this thing. I will help do my part to get into this sanctum.
I will see if she's still there. And if he knows where she lives, he will head that way.
Or
Yes?
there's another alternative. We do not move from this place. Let her attack. Let her bring her hordes onto this place. We have just been, as you just saw, reinforced. Let her lose her army on this place. Let her weaken herself on this place. And then we can behave like we have lost and are retreating to the sanctum where she can follow us. Which means that she will have lesser powers. It might only be her we have to fight. Big difference between fighting a green dragon or fighting a green dragon and her minions?
Ren kind of is pacing, listening to this. He goes, just stop. No one is fighting a dragon.
It is unlikely that you would survive, yes.
I also don't like the idea of allowing this attack. I don't... I greeted them, but I don't know that I have faith in these men. They're not Knights of Solamnia. They have no reason to stay here. If they were to face down a dragon and her forces, it's going to be something, it's going to be coin that they run from. I don't have faith in these men.
If they're inside the walls and they betray this place, it would be over before it began.
So you mean to tell me that the 4 of us, or the 6 of us, will trundle along to the good old sanctum with the green dragon trailing behind us. We shall open the sanctum and she will walk in and she will let us all live, all there, by ourselves, in the middle of nowhere.
It also seems odd that she even made this deal with Rubrum. Yeah, it seems really weird that she would just suddenly reveal herself to him and make this deal.
Yeah. He says, Rubrum says, it's because she thinks I will kill her.
And how exactly would you kill her? Why does she fear this?
She thinks I'm something that I cannot be.
Which is?
Yes, what is that exactly?
A red dragon, of course.
And why would she think that?
Because I am.
Okay, is he telling the truth?
Okay.
Darius sits down as ale and just thinks it's not enough.
Rubrum, you can whisper me a roll of your choice, and Baldwin, you can make an open insight check to see whether he seems sincere.
Oh, I will
What
too.
do you want me to roll?
Okay. You can whisper me a deception roll if you're lying, or nothing if you're telling the truth.
Okay.
But the others won't know. Okay. Both of you. Okay, both of you. Yeah, he seems completely sincere. Bonkers, but completely sincere. And Neil looks at him, and she looks into his eyes and says, "Oh, crap. I'm gone. I'm out of here." And she just walks out of the room immediately.
What?
She's just walking off down the street.
I think Darius would kind of chase after her a little bit. What? He's crazy. I mean, he's a sorcerer, but he's crazy.
No. No one has eyes like that, Darius. No one has red eyes.
I mean, some people.
No, they don't. They don't, Darius. Only a red dragon who's shape changed and isn't bothering to hide it has red eyes, as far as I've ever known, apart from weird curses and stuff. I don't know any other explanation. And he believes it himself. It's good enough for me. I don't want to be around the man.
The mad wizard's magic is getting to your heads, Neil. You're going crazy.
I'm leaving is what I'm doing. And she stops and sort of takes a deep breath because she's looking a little short of panic. And she stops and throws her arms around Darius and gives him a big hug. She says, "Try and stay alive, Darius. I've done everything I can for you. I hope we meet again someday. Stay safe."
You will, Zanil. You take care of yourself. And if I do come calling at that tower, remember,
is that I won't be there. I'm leaving him. I'm going to find another master. No, I'm going to strike out on my own. I've learnt enough. I can teach myself from here on in. You know, and she kind of looks, one of the reasons that Kralos wants to get into the Sanctum is they say that one of the old treasures hidden within is something called a night jewel. It's a gem. And if you hold it, well, it's a long story. There's too much to tell. But deep in those forests, somewhere deep in the forest, is hidden one of the towers of high sorcery. One that's lost, or nearly lost. It holds a lot of magical treasures. Well, not treasures, but knowledge. Books of some of the greatest archmages who ever lived. Fistandantilus, Raistlin. So much knowledge, and Kralos wants it. If he gets the Sanctum, he'll happily hand out all those religious items and most of the arcane ones to those dark faiths. He just wants the night jewel. He's going for the tower. I don't want to be anywhere near when that happens. And you shouldn't either, Darius. I've said too much. I'm going. And she walks off.
But wait.
This was all happening a little bit down the street, actually, because she'd gone out and Darius had followed. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you probably heard him call out to her, but not what she said in reply, and she's gone off further down the street. But you all saw that she took a good look at Rubrum's eyes and was like, oh no, I'm out of here, immediately.
Yeah, so Baldwin would be revealing it. And he leans back and he reaches up under his mask and rubs his eyes and just... So, you've been disguised as you are. Elisira we've had 2 dragons in this outpost for how long now? He just kind of leans his head down. So, I believe you. This does change things now, because it seems like the odds are not so insurmountable if we have a dragon on our side.
The threat of a dragon.
Yes, that is what I meant.
But
yes,
if it
you are a
attacks,
dragon.
she will kill us all. Undoubtedly.
Well, aren't you a dragon? Can't you become a dragon?
I cannot return to my earlier form. I am cursed.
Cursed? How? What cursed you? Who cursed you?
How many people are cursed in this place?
The great evil, now past. Tachesis cursed me when I turned away from her. So many years ago. And I've walked like this. My mortal form. My weaker form. And I die and die again, only to be reborn. Weakened like a babe. Like a calf. Like a fawn from its mother.
And Baldwin, you suddenly remember how you found him, or how you heard that Isabeau found him, in a pool of his own dried blood, but uninjured. This is all, things are falling into place for you. And also the number of times you've seen him, and he seemed the same age as he was during your childhood.
Right. It still changes things. The threat of a dragon may be enough. If we can guarantee the safety of this place, we go to the Sanctum, we do this. This keeps Norhold safe. It helps Norhold develop. It gets everyone here what they want. Riches for the 3 of you. Funds for this place. I think we do it. And we hold faith that fear of death will keep Verderos in line.
A bargain, then. A share in the spoils in exchange for the safety of Norhold and the newly reclaimed tower. Do we go another step and promise not to encroach on her territory if she allows the expansion of the Solamnia presence here?
What is to say that when we are in the woods and she is following us, her minions are not going to attack this place nonetheless? If I was that green dragon, I would do that. I would kill 2 stones with 1 bird. Oh no, sorry. 1 bird with 2 stones?
Yeah.
She might fear
Yes.
my reprisal. A red dragon
Yes,
will
but-
always kill a green dragon. They're weaklings.
But the deed will be done, Norhold will be lost.
Anyone who wants to, particularly Aesh or Baldwin, can make a history check to see what they think of Rubrum's statement.
No idea.
So Aesh, yeah, that for you, you've stories of dragons were the meat and drink of your homeland, and it was always said that in battle a red would kill a green, no problem, but a green wouldn't face a red in open combat. They're cunning. They are spies. They are liars. They're betrayers. That's what they do. But a red would always believe that they would kill a green, because in open direct combat, that's exactly what would happen. It's just the green would never face them that way.
Yes, yes. Rubrum, you would kill this dragon if you could go back to your old form, if she chooses to attack you in the open, if, there's a lot of ifs, weird man. She can still play us. We will be away from this place. We will not know what would have happened. She could attack. Her minions could attack, and like you all said, this new reinforcement wouldn't stand a chance. They would run the moment there is a fight on their hands. I do not care much for them anyway. I do not care much for this town. I do not care much for Geraint. But there are people here who I have become friends with, just the common folk. We should warn them. They should leave this place.
We should... Here's my thought. I think that the mercenaries against another force of beings that they could defeat, creatures they think they could defeat, they might stay. If there was a dragon among them, I think they would flee. But just forces with the walls, under leadership of the knight, they might be compelled to stay. That aside, I think we should still warn of a potential attack, and we should make the new commander aware that we are trying to head north to prevent this from happening. We should be forthcoming with the new lord in charge here about what our intentions are to do. It is of a benefit.
How will you
If they're
explain
prepared,
who
they
will
can...
attack and how we know?
I think, given circumstances and that we are essentially out here alone, and that this is the Solamnic aid, I would doubt any more is coming, they would be more amenable to what is going on. They'd be more willing to believe what is happening and support us if we tell the truth, as opposed to trying to do this with subterfuge. It would allow them to prepare and would allow us to go about our business with confidence that they could be ready for those forces to attack. And also, to Ayesha's point, allow the townspeople to flee if they would like to.
You can tell them that she may attack, but do not tell them the truth. They will attempt to abscond me.
No, we don't need to tell them the full truth.
No.
Never the full truth.
We don't need to tell them of your nature. I will just simply say that we will call it what it is without explaining it in detail. You were able to convince her that you are a dragon, which he will think is insane to begin with, and we will not have to explain it further.
No, my dear Baldwin. We do not even have to speak about that. You have given your report to Geraint, and as you said, he did not receive it well. Now there's a new lord. We can give the same report to the new lord. Talk about the bone acolyte. Talk about the undead that surround the tower where Yusubo is. We can also tell him about the diary we read, where there's a green dragon in the forest with forces. We can say that these forces may amass to attack this place. That's what our intelligence has said. Geraint the fool did not read it well, so you report it to this new lord. And now we choose to go help our friend Yisubo in the tower. Whether we go to the tower or not, that is another matter. That's all we need to say. That should prepare this place for any attack. Do you not agree?
Yes, I will try to think on how we'll answer any more dynamic questions that he has as I go along this report, but I think that's a sound strategy to begin with. I have to remind you, Ayesh, I cannot lie to the man if he asks me certain direct questions.
Then maybe I should be the one to come with you. We can even say that your previous report was not well received, and that's why I am here to give additional testimony to your report.
I think it's
Baldwin
probably
As you-
about this time that Darius comes running in, I think.
Yeah. As you're doing that, Darius kind of comes running back to the group, and on the way, he almost knocks into somebody who's also running in that direction. He turns around and says, "What are you doing? It's too late to be out. What? You're holding some sort of sign?"
And it's one of the labourers here, and he is, I was looking for your friend Rubrum. Is he around? Strange guy, red hair.
He's right up yonder, but he's in quite a mood. You might pick a better
Solid-
day to speak to him.
Can you give it to him? Look, Solinaran gave me 10 steel to give this to him.
He looks down at the message. What is it?
It's a folded piece of paper, that's all you can see.
Yeah.
Only condition
Wow.
was I didn't open it. There you go. He hands it over. I'm off to
Very
the
well.
inn.
Don't spend all your steel in one place, lad. Okay. And he runs
There's only
up
one
and
place to spend it here. And Aphilo
Yes,
walks
right.
laughing.
He kind of walks over towards the rest of the group and hands the letter. Doesn't say much about it until the other discussion is finished with.
Yeah, at the end, Rubrum interjects and says, "It doesn't matter. Convince them or not, we need to leave."
Yes, I think that I am not certain that Mishka will look upon me favorably for trying to work around my oath in this manner, but I think it is in our best interest if you do come with me. Perhaps you could fill some of the gaps if he has questions that you and I know that we cannot answer truthfully.
Yes. I will answer whatever needs to be answered and bend whatever truths need to be bent if these people can be saved. I do not care about Geraint or this militia that they call themselves. But the people, they have done no wrong. And the powers that be always tend to walk over people. If we can stop that, then maybe your God can look upon you favorably when the time comes.
He nods. He looks to see if there's anything else to be discussed.
I think that's probably when Darius comes in, right?
He comes in and hands that message to Rubrum. Yeah, some lad on the street handed me this. Said somebody paid him 10 steel.
Somebody who...
Take it off
That's
my hands.
That's a lot of money.
I don't know who.
Yeah, it was one of the labourers. You've seen him around. And he said it was Solinaran who paid him.
Solinaran's her brother, right?
Yeah.
I want to cast Detect Magic on that.
Real quick while he does that, Ren's going to ask Darius, where did Shadow Hand go?
She said she couldn't take the danger. She left. Probably back
Sleeping
to the
now?
tower. Yes.
Son of a... And Rend is going to actually, like, get up and leave. All of you, get the fuck out. And then he, like, storms out of his own house.
Everyone's acting very weird today.
It's not magical?
Yeah. No, it's not. Oh, sorry, I said it was Baldwin.
Yeah, I was like, wait. Yeah, he takes it and he slips his finger in the middle of it and kind of opens it.
Yeah. It is kind of hastily sealed with just a blob of wax and a seal. And inside, all it says is the gate 3 nights from now. So 2 nights from now.
She wants to meet 2 nights from now at the gate.
Wait. Sorry, no, I have to think about this. Yeah, 2 nights from now.
We can add the conditions of this place when we are there. She won't attack until then, at the very earliest.
Right. I think this is the plan then. We give our report, reinforce the tower, come back, meet her, give our conditions, go north to the Sanctum. Any other thoughts? Anything else? We can inform Dalrend after he comes back.
We must find the night jewel. We must secure it. I suspect that is what she is looking for, but I must have it.
What is the night jewel?
It will show me the way. The Tower of High Sorcery, where all my questions can be answered.
All things will come to light. We have a plan. Let's go forward with it. Keep this place safe and then do what we need to do.
Okay. So what do you guys do next?
I think me and Ayesh are giving a report.
I'd go have some wine, probably.
And
Yeah.
then
Feels good to get things off your chest, right?
I think after that we'll probably again I think we're just going through our plan after that. Taking the auxiliary, doing all this stuff and then coming back and meeting with her.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the report. Unless we want to do we want to do Dalrend and Sunil first?
Yeah, let's do Dalrend and Sunil.
I don't think it'll take long.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a quick one to resolve. Let's do that. Okay. So, you find Zanil at the inn. She seems to be packing, despite the fact it's what now? It's late evening. It's dusk, in fact. And probably by this point, I guess, late dusk is getting pretty dark. And she's packing. You can't reach anywhere from here in the middle of the night.
Yeah, Dalrend will go to presumably her room at the inn or wherever she's staying. And
Yeah.
So, leaving so soon?
What? Yeah. Not that it's any of your business.
Oh, it is. And, mind if I come in for a moment while you're packing?
What? Yes, I do mind a minute.
Well,
what?
Tough. And he kind of closes the door behind him.
She immediately raises her hands into a sort of protective gesture. Her fingers are twitching.
Put your hand down. Calm down. You're being hysterical.
You just burst into my room and shut the door, and she's backing away from you.
He kind of like looks and he kind of leans in and kind of, I know she's backing away, but he kind of leans. He's like, Darius isn't the only friend of yours I know.
She just kind of raises an eyebrow and says, huh?
I served on Blackhand's ship after he left you and Darius and became I think he called himself Swashbuckler, but we all know he was pretty much a pirate.
She chuckles and says, "Yeah, that sounds like him. Well, quite a coincidence you knowing two of them, right? But what has that got to do with now? Why are you in my room?"
Why? Because you're the kind of person that would know what I'm looking for.
And what's that?
Information on curses, specifically transmutation, and how to reverse them.
Huh. Well, it depends. The curse. Was it a wizard, a cleric? Or something more powerful?
Kind of think something, I would say, more powerful. I think it was based on if I had to speculate, an amulet, an item of some kind.
If it's a magical item, it's probably old. From times when magic was more powerful. That's trickier. At least it wasn't a god. Those are almost impossible. An item? There's probably a way, but nothing... no blanket way. You can't just cast a remove curse spell. It's going to be something keyed to the item. You'd need to recover it.
Don't take this the wrong way, but can I convince you to stay the night at my house and allow me to go into more detail and talk about it, and then you can leave whenever you want after that. Though I don't recommend leaving so at night, though I know you're probably one that can take care of herself.
I can take care of myself, and I am taking it the wrong way. No, I am not coming to your house and staying the night. And she's looking very wary of Darren. She says, "Now I've answered your questions. I think it's time for you to leave. Just like I am going to leave this place. If you've got any sense, you'll leave too."
He opens a door and he goes, "Well, I've never been known much for sense, so good luck to you."
And something about that last phrase, she's looking and she says, "You even sound like Blackhand." And she laughs. "I hope he's all right."
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Well, I wish him well wherever he is. Probably in the Nine Hells by now. And she smiles. She laughs. "No, he'll be in the abyss, and he'll be drinking his way through it. I hope he's not. I hope he still lives."
Don't worry. Only the good die young.
She laughs. Well, that's why I'm getting out of here. I'm not good enough to die young." And she laughs.
He kind of smiles, if ever a truer statement. "Well, sorry I can't convince you to stay, but I understand not wanting to stay in a town with apparently multiple dragons."
Quite. And look, I wouldn't trust that Rubrum. Red dragons? They're selfish, greedy, violent. I don't know how he's insinuated himself in your group, but you can't trust them. She seems to, by the way, have relaxed quite a lot since Dalryn went over and opened the door again. As you can see, he's leaving, so she's relaxing a little bit, and she's a little bit away from him. But that's your business. Maybe there's some connection there. Family, friendship, common need. I don't know. They're not greens, at least. They're not bred for betrayal, but I don't feel safe in this place. Good luck. And if you ever see Blackhand again, well, just say hi for me. And as she says that, she begins casting a spell, and all of a sudden she vanishes, and there is an inrush of air, almost a pop, as she goes. You don't think she's just disappeared, you think she's gone.
Kind of just snorts and looks through the room and goes, "I'll say hi." And he kind of walks out. "Selfish, greedy, and violent. I thought she was describing me." He kind of laughs to himself and goes back to his house to make sure everybody's got the fuck out like he told them to.
Yeah, so I guess Baldwin and Aesh were going off to report to the new command, right? Let's cover that. Okay, so let's go down here. Take Eleanor off. And we will put Baldwin on. And it's good. Right, and you are reporting in to the new Lord Edwin, and he is sitting when you come in, when you're shown in. He is sitting in the hall of the keep, such as it is, and he is having a glass of wine and reading through a goblet of wine and reading through some papers. There is no sign of Geraint.
Yeah, so Baldwin will come in. And would he have heard Lord Edwin's name? Would he know that when he came in?
Yeah, he could have found it out. I mean, if nothing else, then as he was being shown in, he'll have been told, "Oh yeah, Lord Edwin will see you now."
Lord Edwin, sir.
Ah, you must be Baldric, is it? No, Baldwin. Baldwin, how are you?
Well, I wish to provide a report to you. Might it be all right if we enter?
Of course. Make yourself comfortable. A little wine?
Not for me, Aesh.
Ah, this
Yes,
handsome
yes.
fellow is the bard that I've already heard so much about. You, sir, are a troublemaker, and he laughs. He
I
pours
can't
another.
help it, my lord, if trouble finds me.
Such is the way of bards, I believe. He laughs.
And then, without being invited to sit, Ash just sits down and takes the glass and, just kind of makes himself comfortable as if he's supposed to be there. He's used to this kind of treatment.
Yeah, he raises an eyebrow, but he doesn't say anything, and says, "Baldwin, please do sit. It seems we are being informal."
Of course, and he comes and has a seat. Formally, I am Sir Baldwin, Order of the Healing Hand, and this is Aesh, one of the finest of the auxiliaries.
You see now, and he kind of looks Aesh up and down.
Very much so. Well, he's been very helpful to this place in many ways. Combat, running water, keeping spirits up. He's a good man. We wanted to give a report regarding a mission up north that was given by the previous commander. And he'll, to shorthand it, he'll give him the details of all of it. And then also...
That is quite a story, Baldwin.
Yes, it was a difficult task, but we did accomplish it. The current commander of the auxiliaries is holding down the tower. Lord Geraint had given an order to reinforce it. We had intended to do so. But we fear there might be nefarious forces at work against the settlement sooner rather than later.
Interesting. Well, I had planned to allow Geraint inform me of those orders, and I plan to allow them to stand. Furthermore, I have ordered him and Artesh to go with you north, and then further north to the edge of the forest. The Knights of Naraka are somewhere in that region, and I wish a report on what they are doing. Plus, to be quite frank, I'd rather have Geraint away from here for the next few days.
I don't wish to be too harsh about Lord Geraint, but I do have some concerns about him and Artesh being together.
They are both knights. They will obey their vows. I have every confidence.
To be frank, my lord, I'm not so certain.
Well, sometimes sending rivals, those with tensions between them, into danger can cement them. The more danger there is, the more likely they will need to defend each other. And bonds of blood are the strongest of all.
Not when one does not acknowledge the blood of the other, my lord. But there is wisdom in what you say. However, concern of Baldwin is that these forces that we have come across near the tower, they may choose to attack any time. Yes, we have reinforcements. They may wish to test these reinforcements. It is not clear. There seems to be a lot of alliances happening. Alliances that should not be happening, but they do happen nonetheless.
I had heard that, Lord Geraint's message mentioned a dark cleric here infiltrating himself. And quite frankly, I think one of the reasons I would let Geraint a little far from here is I think that perhaps he needs a little time to clear his head of this dark influence.
Of course, my lord, I will defer to your wisdom.
Nothing like a long walk in the outdoors, Blows the cobwebs away.
One can hope. But yes, we merely wanted to give a report, and we were also to investigate further north, I believe. Ayesh, there was a concern beyond, close to the woods.
The Sanctum. I've heard the stories. Do you think it's real?
It is hard to say, my lord. We have come across those utterances by our enemy. They keep referring to it. We wish to go investigate. A small group of us are diverse. If we fail, it would not look badly upon the Solamnic Knights, and if we succeed, it would be towards the glory of the Solamnic Knights.
I know Lord Alfric strongly felt that we should try to find that place. Tales of riches are a great thing for encouraging settlement. Others will come, and, Solamnia will be forced to commit some real forces at last. I wasn't able to bring any knights or even any auxiliaries this time. The Order felt it had lost too many here before. But if it had a large number of settlers to protect, they would have little choice. The king himself would petition the Order.
It is hard to say, my lord, what the Sanctum holds, given the enemy's interest in it. Maybe not all its contents are, pure.
Oh, I'm sure they're not. They say in the last days of Istar, when the king priests became paranoid, convinced that only Weirway was right, they confiscated many things. Arcane items from other faiths of light, items from the faiths of balance, but certainly items from dark faiths too. There will be many things in there, and any who discover it will unlock a great deal of power.
Yes, my lord. To this end, we need to first investigate to see what and where is the sanctum. And to that end, we wish your permission to leave Norhold and journey towards where we think this sanctum is, though we do not sure if it is in that direction.
Well then, Aesh, you have my permission. Granted gladly. And my good wishes to accompany you. And my prayers too. You are honouring the last wishes of... Well, perhaps not the last wishes, but the wishes of Lord Alfric.
Thank you, my
Right.
lord, but I still have concerns about the people here.
Well,
There
that
are
is why we are
civilians.
here, Aesh. Allow me to do my job.
Yeah, I'll put a hand on Ash's shoulder. It's not.
Well,
I think that is all that we had, my lord. Begging your leave. Yeah, Baldwin
Of
will
course.
get him.
Of course. And if you wish, I will send Geraint to Nartesh at a slightly different time from your group.
No. If it would be within your wishes, I would say it better they accompany us. My concerns to be frank, Geraint's behavior, it would put me, I think, better at ease to be able to see them together. Again, I do have concerns about what Geraint might do were he to travel alone with Artesh.
I've heard he has no love for Dragonborn, and considering his family history, I'm not surprised, but he is a knight and an honourable man. I think you need have no concerns for his actual conduct, whatever his words.
I would refer to your wisdom, my lord. He nods. We'll take our leave.
Very well. It was good to meet you both.
Baldwin nods and walks out with Aesh.
Ash, before he walks out, one for the road, my lord? And he kind of, sticks out his wine glass.
And he raises an eyebrow and says, I think one is enough. One is enough, auxiliary.
It never hurts to ask, my lord. And he kind of puts the glass on the table and bows low and follows Baldwin out.
You hear him chuckle as you go.
As they walk out, yeah, Baldwin will look to Aesh. That went well, I think. And they're heading out.
It always goes well when Ash is around. The people feel at ease.
I appreciate your presence. I think it helped to keep things calm.
Of course. Now we must prepare. The journey ahead. Baldwin, you are at the center of this. Everyone's going to take advantage of you. Be wary, my friend.
Yeah, Baldwin looks kind of confused at that. I don't know what you mean.
You wouldn't know what I mean. Your thoughts are pure, your intentions as pure as always. What I meant was, you are the key. Only you can open the sanctum because you are pure of heart. Yesubo will be busy guarding the tower, making sure that this place does not get attacked without some warning, which means that both Wodros and Rubrum need you. They do not need me or Darius or Dalrend, but they need you.
Well, they might not need you, but I need the rest of you. So, in that way, they all need you as well.
But that's not what I meant. What I meant was, they need you, but they will also try and subvert you, my friend. In the name of those you protect, in the name of the God you uphold. They all want to get into the sanctum, and they all want it badly enough. Things will get interesting. Be careful.
Thank you.
You
Ash.
hold the key and the power.
I will keep your words close at heart, Ash. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm aware time is ticking on, so I will. I'll just move to here when I think we'll kind of fast forward a little bit. So, in the morning, you're all ready to go. Geraint is also ready, and so is Artesh. Artesh is the very sort of model of knightly kind of professionalism, if you will. And Geraint is looking at him with some unease and resentment. And whenever he looks at Lord Edwin gives him a stern look back. There's obviously been some sort of words exchanged. And unless anyone wants to do anything particularly on the journey, I will do the journey pretty quickly just because of time. Is that okay with everyone?
I got nothing.
Yeah, Delran won't do anything special.
Okay. So you do notice on the journey that Geraint and Artesh are avoiding each other. Artesh is quiet, as he always is, but is happy to talk to people. Geraint is watching Artesh carefully, like he suspects he's going to do something. And of course Artesh doesn't, but Geraint is watching him and almost seems ready to draw a sword if Artesh does something. He's almost wary like that. But of course Artesh doesn't. And you travel on through the day, probably a lot of you a little quietly with everything that's been revealed. And then it's towards the end of the day again when you arrive at the tower. And arriving there, you get ready to greet Isabeau. But what you find isn't what you left. At the entrance to the tower, the door is broken in. Bodies lie around the entrance, hacked down, but with very little blood. You realize they must have been undead. And when you push your way into the tower, there's no sign of Isabeau, just a pool of dried blood on the floor. And we will leave it there.
Whoa.
Thank you very much, everyone.